The distress signal pierced through the cosmic void like a dying star's final scream. Ambassador Zethkar of the Galactic Council listened to the transmission with 4 of his 6 arms trembling, his chitinous exoskeleton clicking nervously as the desperate plea repeated on loop. This is the research vessel Astral Harmony. We are trapped in the Nexus Belt asteroid field. Our engines are failing. Life support critical. The gravitational anomalies are tearing our ship apart. Please, anyone. We have civilians aboard, children. The council chamber fell silent. 12 species sat around the luminescent table, each representative avoiding eye contact with the others. The Nexus Belt was a death trap, a chaotic maze of asteroids caught in the gravitational dance of 3 dying stars. Ships that entered rarely returned, and those that did came back broken, their crews forever changed by the experience. The logical course of action is clear, announced Commodore Vexthon, his metallic voice reverberating through his cybernetic throat. We cannot risk council vessels for a rescue mission with such low probability of success. The Astral Harmony knew the risks when they entered that sector. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. The Kethlari representative's tentacles writhed uncomfortably. Perhaps we could send a probe to document their final moments for historical records? Practical, agreed the Zenthari delegate, her crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into prismatic patterns. Emotional responses cloud judgment. The needs of the many outweigh. I'll go. Every head turned toward the human representative. Captain Sarah Chen stood from her seat, her small frame dwarfed by the alien dignitaries around her. At barely 5.5 feet tall, she looked insignificant among beings that towered over her. Yet something in her voice made the chamber fall silent. Captain Chen, Zethkar's mandibles clicked disapprovingly. Your species has only recently joined the Council. You lack the advanced technology necessary for such a mission. Your ships are primitive compared to ours. Sarah's dark eyes hardened. Our ships might be primitive, but they're built to endure. And more importantly, they're crewed by humans. Humans, scoffed Vexthon. Your species is barely a century into space travel. You lack the sophisticated algorithms needed to navigate the Nexus Belt's gravitational matrices. You're right, Sarah nodded. We don't have algorithms for this. We have something better. She touched her comm device. This is Captain Chen to the Indomitable. Prep for immediate departure. We're going into the Nexus Belt. Ma'am, came the tinny reply. That's a suicide run. Then we'll have to be too stubborn to die. Chen out. The council members exchanged glances. The Vareni representative's gill slits fluttered nervously. Captain, this is illogical. Your technology cannot— Our technology isn't what matters, Sarah interrupted. It's who's using it. 3 hours later, the human ship Indomitable approached the Nexus Belt's edge. Unlike the sleek, automated vessels of other species, the human ship was a patchwork of reinforced steel and determination. Its crew of 47 had volunteered for what every computer simulation predicted was a one-way mission. Gravitational distortions are off the charts, reported Lieutenant Martinez from the navigation station. The Council ship's autopilot systems would be completely overwhelmed. Captain Chen gripped her command chair as the ship bucked against a gravity wave. Good thing we don't rely on autopilot. Human eyes, human instincts, human stubbornness. Take us in, manually. The Indomitable dove into the asteroid field like a salmon swimming upstream, where sophisticated AI would have calculated probabilities and found only failure. Human intuition found paths through impossible spaces. The crew worked in perfect synchronization, not because they were programmed to, but because they chose to trust each other with their lives. Contact, shouted the sensor operator. I've got the Astral Harmony. She's wedged between 2 massive asteroids, hull breached in 17 sections. On the view screen, the alien research vessel looked like a dying whale caught in a net of stone and twisted metal. The ship's elegant curves were crumpled, its bioluminescent hull dimming with each passing minute. Sir, the engineering chief reported, their life support is completely gone. Even if we get them out, they won't survive the trip back. Sarah's jaw set. Then we bring life support to them. Prep the emergency modules. We're going to thread the needle. What followed would become legend throughout the galaxy. The Indomitable maneuvered through gaps that mathematical models said were impossible to navigate. Human hands guided the ship through gravitational shears that would have torn apart any automated system. When their engines overheated, the crew worked miracles with spare parts and ingenuity. When their hull cracked, they welded it back together while still flying. The rescue took 18 hours. 18 hours of threading through a cosmic death trap. While the crew of the Astral Harmony, 12 Kethalari researchers and their families, watched in amazement as these small, soft creatures risked everything to save them. When the Indomitable finally limped back to Council space with the alien survivors aboard, the galaxy took notice. The rescue had been broadcast across all channels, watched by billions of beings who had written off the trapped ship as lost. In the Council chamber, Ambassador Zethkar approached Captain Chen with something approaching reverence. "Captain, our computers ran the simulations. What you accomplished, it was impossible." Sarah smiled, exhaustion and pride warring in her expression. "That's the thing about humans, Ambassador. We have a bad habit of not knowing when something's impossible." The Kethalari captain, her tentacles still weak from the ordeal, spoke through her translator. "Why? Why did you risk everything for strangers?" Sarah looked out at the stars through the chamber's massive viewport. "Because when someone cries out for help, you answer. It doesn't matter if you don't know them. It doesn't matter if the odds are impossible. You answer the call. That's what makes us human." From that day forward, when distress signals echoed through the cosmic void, every species in the galaxy knew who would answer. Not because they had the best technology or the most logical approach, but because they had something no algorithm could replicate: the stubborn, beautiful, impossible human refusal to let others suffer alone. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the greatest technology isn't found in circuits and code. It's found in the heart of those brave enough to use it.